Hi, my name is Sergei Beliaev, and I am EVP and Chief Strategy Officer with DLT Labs. I'd like to share with you today some of our thinking about the world post-COVID-19, trade wars and global politics, and how we can respond better, faster, and cheaper by using blockchain. So hope it's useful and valuable for you. So today we're going to go through the impact of COVID-19, trade wars, and other things on our enterprises. We'll look into the value proposition of blockchain and its role in the new world, and then we'll use a practical real-time example from our deployment with Walmart Canada to show how it could be done in practice. And then we'll have a quick discussion about critical success factors of this engagement. A couple of words about myself. So I'm Chief Strategy Officer for DLT Labs. Before that, I spent almost 30 years in technology industry, and most recently, I was Chief Information Officer for Walmart Canada, running both e-commerce and bricks and mortar businesses from technology perspective. DLT Labs, so we are a software company and a global leader in enterprise blockchain solutions. We have global offices based in Canada. We also have an office in Japan, India, and in other places. And we work with a number of different partners who help us deliver and deploy business-focused solutions. So let's talk about the world today. COVID-19, trade wars, and everything else. What is the impact that enterprises are experiencing? From what we're hearing, there is a number of things, but among them is less predictability within the supply chain performance. We can no longer rely on information that used to be guaranteed. There are increasing costs due to increased cost of materials, increased costs of human capital, additional compliance requirements, and so forth, and also a growing burden of compliance and disclosure requirements. How do we handle it? So what can we do as enterprises to actually mitigate the impact of those things in our businesses? First, we can further diversify our supply chains. We can diversify across various suppliers and across multiple locations. That will help us to eliminate supply chain choke points. We can also further digitize our supply chain processes to make them more real-time, more reliable, and it'll, in its turn, help us establish the control tower capabilities to manage the changing world in a most effective manner. And that will help us to improve our supply chain network agility. We can also look to simplify our business processes, take waste out of the business processes, and also improve working capital management. And that will help us to mitigate some of the higher costs and find additional cost efficiencies. So let's explore how blockchain helps in achieving these business objectives faster and at a lower cost. Let's step back into the blockchain. So if we look at the blockchain above and beyond the bits and bytes and look into the business value proposition, in our opinion, it boils down to three key things. Blockchain provides tamper-proof and traceable history, a real-time single version of truth that is truly shared among multiple participants, and additionally, it also offers process automation through the utilization of smart contracts. And tamper-proof and traceable history really allows us to simplify workflows and compliance, remove those unnecessary steps that are usually used to reconcile different versions of truth and so forth. Single version of truth will help us reduce disputes and rework that is usually involved in verifying and auditing different pictures of the reality. And the process automation can help us accelerate and also to error-proof execution of business processes. So how do those three value propositions of a blockchain help us work with the business problems we discussed earlier? Let's talk about choke points, right? So to eliminate the choke points, companies need to truly understand their supply chains. And it's no longer sufficient just to understand the tier one suppliers, companies you are dealing with directly. It is also important to understand tier two, tier three, and further inland of how those suppliers' supply chains are operating and to make sure that if there is a major risk from a sub-supplier from tier 2 or tier 3 to a tier 1 supplier, it could be mitigated. And Japanese companies are not new to this concept. So, for example, on the aftermath of the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, many Japanese companies had to go through this multi-tier supply chain mapping exercises. And what they found is that it's a lot of work. One of these Japanese semiconductor manufacturer quoted that it took a team of 100 people more than a year to map the company's supply chain network deep into the sub-tiers. What is even more interesting is that once this work is finished, it is outdated because situation on the ground changes all the time. And if some of this knowledge is just in people's heads and people change their work and everything else, people leave the organization, sometimes information is not just updated. So where we think blockchain might become useful, because it's a single shared version of truth, it could be shared between the enterprise and its suppliers. And anytime there is a change in the underlying supply chain participants, this change gets updated in real time, and then everybody benefits from an up-to-date existing view of the world. What will make it even stronger is the KYS, Know Your Supplier. With the supplier, it's not sufficient to just have names and types of suppliers captured on your multi-tier supply chain map. It's also important to understand whether those suppliers are reliable, whether they have good history of fair, ethical, and quality manufacturing practices. How do you verify this? All of those aspects of company's performance could be immutably captured on a blockchain. And if you supplement your multi-tier supply chain map with the Know Your Supplier information, it becomes significantly more reliable and would allow you to make decisions faster when you need to change a supplier or adjust the routing. When we talk about agilities, it's very much about visibility, and it's about real time. So again, a single shared version of truth between multiple supply chain participants that is updated in real time will enable effective control tower capabilities. There is an interesting development on the market as well when EDI events are truly evolving into the real-time multi-party information platform. So it's no longer just facilitation of interactions between pairs of participants, but it's a multi-participant network that provides access to relevant information to relevant parties in real time, thus streamlining the overall supply chain processes. And last but not least, it's cost efficiencies. And when we look into where do we find costs, it's really a couple of places. One is the reduced cost of compliance, audits, and disclosure, which is mounting and increasing, and also increased process automation and removal of the unnecessary non-value added steps. And blockchain-based solutions, like I'll show you in a second at Walmart Canada, they allow to get rid of some of the reconciliation steps, some of the verification and audit steps, because there is nothing to reconcile. There is one single version of truth. Also, because all the information captured on the blockchain is completely immutable. It is impossible, technically impossible to change. It is captured and time-stamped properly and highly transparent and auditable. All those things make your compliance, audits, and disclosure much easier and also much more reliable in the eye of any of those entities that would require compliance with disclosure statements. So how did those are all wonderful things, but have they been done in real life? And the answer is that today, blockchain is still new and there are not too many real life, high scale production deployments. A unique thing about DLT Labs is that we have deployed a blockchain-based solution with Walmart Canada. So as of today, this is a Walmart Canada national standard for freight invoicing and freight transportation tracing in Canada. So Walmart Canada works with the national network of its carriers, which is about 70 companies, where they share information about where transportation takes place, how does it happen? And we also capture about 200 different data points that allow us to trace this effectively. And you see a quote from Francis Lalonde, who is VP Freight for Walmart Canada, when he highlights the immediate business value. When 30 to 40% of invoices wouldn't match in the past, and now with this solution in place, this number has been reduced to lower than 2%. And all of this is applied to a huge operation where they haul about 500,000 loads a year. So what does this solution do in practice? If you look into a Walmart freight invoicing process, it has a number of steps, right? And in freight, people pick something up, they transport it, and then they deliver it to the final consumer. And those steps are value added. At the same time, there's a number of verification steps, colored here as brown and yellow. And those steps are only necessary to make sure that things are happening the way they were supposed to happen. What will happen if those steps are no longer required? We see a highly simplified business process. Those unnecessary steps disappear, and this disappearance benefits not a single company, but every single participant in the overall process. So in the Walmart Canada case, it's Walmart Canada itself, and every single carrier that Walmart is interacting with. So this is the new process that Walmart Canada enjoys today. So out of 11, only 5 steps remain. And those steps are significantly streamlined, automated, and shared. And this is where most of the business value is coming from. So the solution is in complete production. As I mentioned, it's a national standard for Canada. And a number of people are asking us, so how is it going for Walmart? Are they still happy with the solution that they deployed some time ago? So don't look for me for the words. Let me show you a video clip from an interview that was taken with John Bayliss, who is an SVP of Supply Chain and Logistics for Walmart Canada, the most senior positioned executive managing it for the company.
Here we are 18 months later, rolled it out nationally to all of our carriers, and it's working. This is a forward-leaning, digital, innovative thing, first of its kind in the world. I mean, we've rolled this out for all of our carriers, big and small in Canada, and we've had phenomenal reviews from our carriers and all of our teams. And so, you know, I think when you're first in developing something, you have the opportunity to really set the standard, and you know, we're excited to be part of that partnership and that prospect with DLT.
Well, so as you have seen, John is quite excited about the solution. He sees a lot of value above and beyond additional value proposition. So today, as we've discussed, Walmart Canada enjoys a significant reduction of disputes. And it's not just Walmart. For carriers, when your payment is not in dispute, you get paid faster, which is a huge business value. Now there is real-time invoicing that is happening as the transaction is taking place. There is way lower frequency of audit exceptions, which allows all companies to save money and resource time. There is seamless line haul rate approval process. It might seem small, but that has been a process that has been missing historically in the negotiations and interactions. There is also accelerated payment process that opened up additional capital management opportunities for Walmart and for carriers, where Walmart is funding the payables at a discounted rate, right? And there is a number of other different things. When you talk to Walmart today, they don't see this situation as the final stop. They actually see next level of value coming from using this specific solution in concert with other solutions. So let's get back to John again.
In addition to simplifying invoicing, DL Freight is impacting many aspects of how goods are shipped. How significant is the improvement from this technology?
We can understand patterns around stores that aren't turning as quickly, depots that aren't turning as quickly, routes that aren't as efficient as both of us would like them to be.
So transforming a payment and invoice reconciliation solution into an information platform has a huge value proposition to an enterprise. Because what is happening today is that with a single reliable record of transaction that is also supplemented by the IoT information from the cold chain, from the location of transportation vehicles and everything else. And also coupled with other information about available in the enterprise. All of a sudden, a Walmart Canada or a carrier can start using this reliable data to start doing better planning, applying machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms to actually optimize their iterations and do other things. And for Walmart Canada and for us, this is the next big horizon that we are planning to reach by deploying our solution. I wanted to step back and have a quick conversation about the critical success factors. So what made this whole project a success? In my mind, it's three key things. First and foremost, there was a reduced need for change management within the business unit because everybody is busy, they're running business on a daily basis, and change management could become a major distraction. How did we achieve it? We achieved it by positioning this whole project as being business-driven versus technology-centric. It was done primarily by the freight and transportation people within Walmart Canada and within carrier organizations, and technology was there to support. And how was that made possible? It was made possible because what DLT Labs offered to Walmart Canada was not a custom-crafted blockchain solution. It was a configurable platform where most of the technology aspects have already been addressed. They were already done, so like security, privacy considerations, integration considerations, performance, scalability, and everything else is already done. It's available out of the box. So all that Walmart needed to do to deploy this in full production was to understand business requirements, configure specific business rules, rates, and so forth, and then launch and onboard additional carriers. Walmart Canada and DLT Labs deployed an initial full-scale production pilot with the largest carrier in Canada called Bison Transport in a course of 60 days. So 2 months, there was a fully live solution running in production. And that brings us to the third most important point. It is important to show in a very clear terms, what is the ROI of the solution? What's the return on investment? What's the business value? And because even the initial deployment was not done as a proof of concept, which is usually generic and disconnected from the complexities of real life, but was delivered as a true full-scale production pilot with real business flowing through it at a lower scale, but still real business, ROI became very easy to capture and then very easy to grow as the solution was extended to additional participants. So I hope that this quick overview of the current enterprise problems of today, how does blockchain help resolve those problems, and also giving you an example of the work that was done in production with Walmart Canada has been helpful. And I'd like to get some of your questions right now. Thank you.